All right, we are recording. Hello, hello, hello. So, I have been asked quite a few times by just a few different people. I used to have a little segment that was a segment that I was trying to expand on, but I didn't really feel like I hit it on the head, the nail on the head, so to speak, with just going through upcoming games. Essentially making just a video of a bunch of upcoming games that, you know, I'm actually looking forward to, and hopefully trying to get other people to look forward to them as well. And obviously not really big name games, because that's kind of like what I try to do on my channel, but lesser known games that are coming up. So I've been asked a couple times when I was going to bring that back. I have been asked by a few different people to bring it back, so I'm going to try to expand on it. We're going to try to keep working on it and keep making it better. And obviously, if anybody has suggestions and how I could make it any better, or anything that you guys want to see, then do let me know. And if there's any genres of games that you don't really see very often on it, feel free to put that in the comments. But we're going to go ahead and do that today. So we're going to start off with a couple of games that I have on a list, and hopefully we'll just go from there. All right, well, let's jump into the first game. This is Invokyr. So if you ever wanted a game that was essentially Jumanji, if anybody recalls, I might be dating myself here, but there was a board game. I think it pretty much started off as a book, then it became a board game. Or maybe it became a book and then a movie. I don't remember, but I remember the movie. But if you've ever recalled the movie Jumanji, and if you ever wanted a game that was similar to that, this is pretty much that game. It seems like it's going to be really, really fun with a lot of the aspects that you would recall from the Jumanji movie. A lot of things that I read, it's a 4-player co-op game, essentially going over the dev notes here. It's a forgotten board game, a haunted house. Play up to 4 friends. Roll the dice, survive the horrors that are summoned, and beat the game master to win your freedom. And then one thing that really stuck out to me about this game is that it has different biomes within the house and different things that you're going to have to go through. It has different type of creatures that have their own unique way of hunting, which is kind of freaking wild. I mean, I love to see games that start to innovate and start to bring a lot of like new and better AI for, especially whenever you're doing a PvE style thing. So that's going to be really interesting to see. And let's see, I don't think there's anything else that I want to go over with this, except for the fact that this really, really, really does remind me a lot of Jumanji. But let's jump into the trailer.
Let's play a game.
See, exactly it. I mean, goddamn, to the T.
The dice.
But I love it. I have always wanted to play a game like Jumanji. Jumanji had always been such a movie that's near and dear to me in my childhood. And this seems like they really took that and made it into something really great, honestly. Oh, we even got the hunter. You really love to see the different ways that people are going with their gaming. And albeit, this isn't the most unique concept, being the fact that, of course, you have things like Jumanji that do exist.
Every roll summons a new surprise.
But it's still really lovely to see whenever, that devs are really taking these games and trying to make it into something pretty unique. But that was Invokyr. Now, I'm not going to try not to use up too much time on a lot of these because I have a lot of games to go through. So we're just going to start steamrolling through some of these games. All right, jumping into the next game. So I'm not going to lie, chat. I actually, I had to Google the pronunciation of the title of this game. And I still don't think I'm going to be able to get it right. So I apologize if I butcher this, but this is Kyoryu. I want to say that that's how you say it. But this game, I feel like I could have sworn I went over it, and it could be in footage that I might have gotten rid of before in the past. But I could have sworn I went over this. So whenever I heard about this game, it was around the time that a lot of these other dinosaur games have been coming out. It seems like the really interesting thing about gaming is it always seems like a lot of these indie developers just have like their own circle, and a lot of them are just like, you know what, like what ideas can we go with? What ideas can we start to follow? And then one is just like, oh, you know what, let's I'm gonna make a game about dinosaurs, and then you just start to see a flood of like dinosaur games. You know, I'm gonna make a game about pirates, and then you start to see all these pirate games just start to come out. I don't know what it is, but around the time that I heard about this game was around the time that games like Death Grounds, I think, is one of the games that I recall. There was one Dino Blade that just recently released a demo that seems to be doing really well, which was really awesome because that game was created by, or started off by, a single person just making an animation of a 3D model, and then that slowly turned into, you know, people wanting a game of it. So he was just like, all right, I guess I'll start making a game, which is really badass. But needless to say, this game is essentially very unique from what I can tell, and it is another dino game, which is always freaking awesome. So you are a young, genetically modified son of a that's a tongue twister. Son of a samurai T-Rex in a post-apocalyptic, god damn, never mind, I just can't speak. Post-apocalyptic Tokyo, who is fascinated by the once mighty human and the ruins of their civilization. So let's jump into the trailer. Oh, this is a gameplay trailer. Actually, hold on. Let's do a different trailer. I will say, like, the way that they designed a lot of these dinosaurs is pretty wild. And that trailer did not really give us much, now did it? I could have sworn there was a longer trailer than that. All right, hold on. Let's see. Maybe, no, this is another very short trailer. Well, there's not very many trailers for this, are there? Well, let's just play a little bit of this. Bit of the gameplay. From what I believe, a lot of it does seem, well, a big aspect of it does seem to be stealth related. But I'm really hoping that, I mean, eventually you grow up and then from there you don't have to start keep hiding anymore. But who knows? Maybe it could be a series of things where, you know, this first game is where you are, you know, where this game is more stealth based. And then from there, the next game is whenever you get bigger and you start to defend yourself. But I mean, I imagine that can't be the case, right? But that was it. And I am not going to try to pronounce that because I feel like I butchered it the first time. But there you go. There's that game. All right. Next game. This game is Lort. And funny enough, I was actually just having a conversation with a friend of mine, actually yesterday, where we were discussing like what multiplayer games there are out there that are more than 4 people, right? And I told him there weren't very many. Aside from a lot of the kind of PvP style games, like there aren't a lot of cooperative games that have more than 4 players. So this is very refreshing, especially to somebody who, you know, I don't mind PvP games. I just don't play them often. I'm not a very competitive person, especially when it comes to things like gaming. I prefer to like be able to just like have fun with friends, right? Have a goal in mind where me and my friends are going to be able to achieve that goal. So this is Lort. Lort is a 1 to 8 player co-op action roguelite. Team up with your friends to battle, loot, and stack ridiculous power-ups across the cursed fantasy world. Fight towards escape, revive your homies, and get absolutely chatted as you evolve from Goblin Ticker to God Slapper. All right, let's jump into the trailer.
Welcome to Lort.
This game honestly looks just so freaking fun. One big thing about it is that you can pretty much choose whatever weapon. You can swap with your weapon or swap your weapons as you play. Of course, death is inevitable being a roguelike game. But the amount of swarm is wild. And I love colossal bosses. This game is going to be one of those games that I feel like is going to do really, really well. Because it just seems like conceptually and having as many players as you can have on it is just going to be fucking a blast, right? And if they give a lot of good variety to the weapons that you can use, like maybe they make it to where you can start to get different unique, perks that you can unlock and things like that, then I feel like it's just going to become super fun and super addicting to continue to play. But that was the Lort. Again, we're just speed running through these games today. All right, one thing I did want to point out about Lort is that the demo is currently out for the game. So if you do have an interest in playing this, definitely check out the demo for this, because you get to try it out and see if you like it for yourself. All right, on to the next one. This next game is Drakantos. One of the two. This game is an MMORPG. And I feel like I have seen a handful of MMORPGs that are like top-down and pixelated MMORPGs. But normally they don't do too well. I mean, I feel like, again, games like RuneScape, I mean, you can't really speak on that because RuneScape was a massive game. But other games that had come out, I know that there was one called Mad World that came out a while ago. Well, maybe a few years back. But there was a game called Mad World that I was super interested in trying to get into, but it seemed like it wasn't really doing too well when I checked it out. There's quite a few other, handful of top-down pixel art MMORPGs. So I'm hoping that this one's going to be really good. I actually got into the playtest of this one, and I never played it. I don't know why. I want to say I booted it up and maybe I created a character, but I don't know. I just, something at the time, the playtest really didn't speak to me too much to where I really wanted to put a lot of time into it. Needless to say, I am really excited for this one to come out. It is a free-to-play game. And, from what I've seen and from what I can see from trailers and like from what my friends have told me who've tried out the playtest, they say that it is a really, really fun game. So I'm really hoping for the best of this one. But just a quick summary of the game. Drakantos is a free-to-play MMORPG with nostalgic pixel art style. And I am a sucker for pixel art. Combined with exciting fast-paced action combat and more than 20 unique playable heroes. But let's jump straight into the trailer. See, look at how gorgeous this game is. God damn. Now, the combat is really what gets me. How they animated all, like, all the combat moves that you get to do, it just seems so nice. And also, when it comes to MMORPGs, one thing that really speaks to me a lot is whenever it's more of an action RPG instead of like a turn-based RPG, right? Like, to me, games like World of Warcraft, I've never been a huge fan of because it's just like point and click type things, in which I'm sure somebody's gonna come at me with, maybe I'm just like not too familiar with World of Warcraft. I only played it a little bit, but that was the one thing that just like threw me off of it. This seems like you actually have to like move, dodge, know where you're gonna put your spells down. God damn, just look at these spells. Oh, this is a super, super badass looking game, truly. And you know what? I don't even know, like, I'm so bad at trying to, like, figure out what classes
waste my time.
that I want to stick to. Hold on. We got lore. Hold on. Is this Overlord? Oh, we'll never know until the game comes out. But goddamn beautiful looking game. So if you did enjoy that, do wishlist it. And also keep an eye open for the playtest, because this does not have, oh my God, I haven't been going over the release dates for these. God damn it, that's on me. Well, hopefully you'll be able to see it in the video. But this does not have a release date, unfortunately. It is coming soon, no release date. But again, they have already released a playtest that I know of. I don't know how many playtests they've released in the past, but they have already released a playtest. And so definitely keep your eyes open if this does appeal to you. Keep your eyes open for that. And with that, we will be moving on to the next. All right, next game, Expedition Into the Darkness. This game in itself seems like it's going to be a very, very unforgiving game. It seems like it's going to be very merciless, but this is yet again another cooperative game, so something that really, really appeals to me. But Expedition Into the Darkness is a medieval third-person cooperative dungeon crawler and extraction looter. There has been so many extraction games coming out, and I see the appeal of extraction. Like, I personally haven't touched a lot of the PvPvE extractions, but I have played a lot of the single-player ones. So something like Sulfur, something like Escape from Duktov. I've never played Escape from Tarkov. I know Arc Raiders is doing extremely well. What are the games? Arena Breakout, I think it's called. But Extraction seems to be that genre that really people have been flocking to a lot. You know, you had deathmatch modes, you had freaking what is it called, battle royale was big recently. There was something that was after battle royale, if I'm not mistaken. There was another genre of game that became really big. I'm not sure there was a trend, but battle royale kind of gives the gist of what I'm trying to portray here. But extraction shooter seems to be the next battle royale, right? And to me, I can understand the appeal of extractors, because I think it appeals to a lot of senses within your mind. One big thing that it appeals to is like people with like OCD and like things like that. Like, it's so nice. I feel so great getting all these items and organizing and figuring out like, oh, well, what's expensive here? Like, what are the things that I can sell? What do I need to look out for? Stuff like that. And it is just like those little things that, trigger your brain where you're just like, oh God, this is so addicting, right? So I can see why extraction shooters have started to become big, and this does seem to be one. But this one seems to be very, in my opinion, very unique. This one seems to be more of a horde-driven extractor. So to me, that's already extremely unique. I don't know where the aspect of the extraction comes out. It's probably like just looting the area and not the people, right? But this does seem like it's going to be quite a banger of a game. No release date on this. But the playtest is currently active, and I believe the playtest, from what I've read below, the playtest is going to be active until May 1st. So, again, if this looks interesting to you, definitely join that playtest. But let's get into the trailer. You gotta love the goth elements of everything. Jeez, look at that. Also, I will say, I feel like the bow is such an underrated weapon in a lot of games. And I love using bows.
Majesty, my queen and sovereign divine, I have arrived within the city. As I read this very letter, a band of mercenaries descend into the catacombs by my command. There are murmurs, hushed rumors of dark magic, yet stirring in these black blackened halls of antiquity. Such are the ravings of the common.
Again, just the concept of just having hordes of enemies just coming at you with the element of an extract. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is a creation. My question is are there going to be classes? I imagine there has to be, right?
And I will hasten to bring you word of our triumph.
Oh, well, I mean, I imagine that's not going to happen anymore, right? September is kind of far gone, but again, this game does not have a release date. Playtest is available. Do join if it does appeal to you, and we will move on to the next. Next game. This is Journey Through the Undead. And speaking of horde games, this is yet another one. Which, if you have ever been a fan of games like Dead Island, let me think. Well, I mean, Dead Island would probably be like the best thing. The best comparison from what it seems here. I mean, I will throw like Left 4 Dead in there because it does seem to be like a cross between the two. And yes, they can be very different games. But I don't know whether this is going to be more RPG driven like Dead Island or whether it's going to be more just horde based, get from one point to the next like Left 4 Dead. But it does seem like it's going to have more of the RPG element to it. But it does seem like it's going to be a really fun game. So blast through hordes of relentless zombies in an action-packed journey across a stunning mutated world. Arm yourself with guns, melee weapons, and grenades as you fight for your survival through eerie ruins and deadly swamps. Now, I do want to point out that this game does use AI. Again, I do like to point these things out because, again, it'll really differ how people, determine whether they want to play it or not. Because, again, some people just really won't, and I don't blame you. Some people just really won't support AI-generated games because who knows where that's going to take us. But let's jump into the trailer. I will say the world in this looks very, very beautiful. And I imagine that this is probably pre-alpha footage because it does seem like some of the animation can just use a little refinement. But I'm sure it's not the easiest thing to work with, especially whenever you're having to deal with mass amounts of assets running through the screen. But man, do we need more horde games. These are some of my favorite things. I mean, I can replay Left 4 Dead 2 any day of the week. Oh yeah, that looks like it's going to be pretty freaking solid. Well, let's not roll that. But that was Journey Through the Undead. Release date is supposed to be January 15th, 2026. So that's actually not too far from now. I imagine it's supposed... Oh, no, it's actually just a single-player game. That is something that is new to me. But either way, single-player or not, again, if they refine it and they, make it a little less, like, jank whenever it comes to all the animation, I think that this is going to be a really fun game to play. All right, this is Frostrail. Now, I am a massive sucker for survival games. I recently played Void Train, which was pretty fun, I would say. I had a pretty good time with it. I got lost in the world. I am playing through Abiotic Factor with some friends right now, which is a freaking blast. That game is honestly extremely surprising. If you are a fan of survival, like survival crafting games, then I highly, highly recommend playing through Abiotic Factor. But this is Frostrail. Through the frost, death follows the tracks. Dive into a ruthless survival FPS, solo or co-op. Explore, scavenge, craft, and fight to endure a frozen, corrupted world. Operate and upgrade your steam-powered train through an unforgiving wasteland where every choice is a matter of survival. So a little more to it. A little more to the world of this game. Once a mighty empire, the land now lies barren, consumed by an unrelenting cold, twisted by an emperor's path with a void. Its ruins are haunted by relentless revenants and eldritch horrors, which I've been, you know what? I had never been super into eldritch like style things because I had never really, I guess, got introduced to like Lovecraft's things. But as of late, I've been playing a lot of games that have a lot of eldritch horror to it, and it is really, really intriguing to me. I'm always a fan of a game where you control like some type of vehicle, whether it be, you know, games with submarines, games with trains. Something about it just, it appeals to me a lot. So it's going to be super fun going into some of these camps, trying to get all the things that you need to keep it moving. It seems like the winter cold is definitely going to play a time factor in everything that you have to do. So you probably have to rush to do everything, especially until you start to upgrade and get armor and probably things to keep you warmer. Oh, damn. Look at all those upgrades. That's pretty solid. Ooh, goddamn. There it is. You can't do eldritch horror without the massive creatures. So that was Frostrail, and it has a release date of 2026. I imagine it's going to be 1 to 4 players. I can't speak on that, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be 1 to 4 players. So if you enjoy it, definitely wishlist it. So I really love whenever I make these lists because I don't make them in any particular order. I will literally, the moment I start to see games that I'm just like, oh, this actually looks really cool, I'll just grab it and put it onto an Excel sheet. Again, I don't really categorize them. I don't put them in any type of order, but I always love whenever they slowly start to follow a theme. So we just went through survival horror with Frostrail, and we're going to go into another survival crafting game. So this is, I hate this place. A craft-based isometric survival horror game with twisted monsters and warped reality. Scavenge and build to survive terrifying days and nights while using stealth and noise to fight enemies that stalk by sound. All styled with bold comic art and 80s retro horror, or retro, I don't know where I put retro in there. 80s horror vibes. Release date is January 29, 2026. So the one thing I will say is we definitely need to start to get more games that have comic book style because I freaking love comic book style. The damn it. What is it called? The cell shading. Cell shading, I love cell shaded games. You know, you have cell shaded games that are kind of like Borderlands. You have cell shaded games that I can't really even think of a lot of them off the top of my head because it doesn't seem like there's way too many. But I feel like it is a style that doesn't get used very much in games. And I know back in the day, especially with a lot of Sega Genesis games, there were quite a few that were like that. Obviously, because you had games that were like, you know, comic book based games, all the Marvel, the DC games. But I just feel like it is a style that really should be used more often. But with that said, let's get into the trailer. Oh, dude, I really do love comic book style games. They're just so...
Okay, Vague
so
and
beautiful.
unsettling.
I mean, you even have like the sound
What's here with
effects.
my friend Lou. You know where she is?
That's so awesome. Mad respect to the devs for
I didn't think
for
we'd
doing
actually
that.
summon anything. It was a joke, a dare, mostly.
It does kind of remind me of Telltale games.
He listened. That carries a weight, a cost.
Things like The Walking Dead and stuff like that.
The ones that dwell here, they noticed her, as they will notice you. They do not see, but they hear the panic in a heartbeat.
Oh, now I will say I'm not a very patient person when it comes to games, so the stealth aspect is probably gonna be my downfall.
If you die in there, perhaps we'll meet again, under different circumstances.
But that was I hate this place. And again, release date is not 2025. It is 2026. I imagine this is just going to be a single player game. So yeah, if you enjoy it, do wishlist it. But again, on to the next one. So going through the theme of extraction, I imagine just extraction. Well, it's an extraction RPG. I was going to say extraction shooter, but that's probably not fully correct. This game appealed to me a lot because I really love the aesthetics that it has. It reminds me so much of Hunt Showdown, which I can't really speak too much on because I actually never played Hunt Showdown, unfortunately. I know that I've watched a lot of streamers play it. I know a lot of friends that love it. And I imagine this is probably just a really fun game. But the aesthetics of Hunt Showdown, really, whenever it came out, before I really knew what it was, because again, I'm not crazy about PvP games. I've always just been really big on playing, just pure cooperative games. But whenever Hunt Showdown first came, and before I started to really know what it was, I really, really wanted to play it just for the aesthetics alone, just for how the bosses looked, just for how the enemies were, just for how the world looked. And this really hits that vibe, right? So this is Hunger. Hunger throws you into the chaos of plague-ravaged Neapolitan Europe. This PvPvE extraction RPG blends brutal melee and range combat with deep long-term character progression. Questing and crafting, scavenge for resources, battle unspoken horrors, and outlast rival living. So this, again, I'm pretty sure this is the concept itself is going to be very, very much like Hunt Showdown. And that's one thing that really, and honestly, I mean, whenever this game comes out, I will probably give it a shot because I do play PvP games, but I just don't play them as often as I play other games. But let's jump into the trailer.
Peggy 18.
I mean, essentially, this is just from the creators of Hell Let Loose.
Cast its shadow o'er this land. All hope seemeth lost. Yet still thou dost fight. Why? What seekest thou in the dark? A touch of warmth? A gold cord?
God, you give me this and make it in the style of like Warhammer, like Vermintide, I am absolutely sold. But
flesh you and I both know.
But like I said, just going into this world just makes me want to play it, regardless of it being a PvP game.
We are but beasts, unworthy of salvation.
Holy crap, this is such a beautiful game, wow. So I want to imagine like the PvP aspect of it is probably the fact that you probably don't get a lot of ammunition. you probably have to rely a lot on your melee and saving the ammunition for something maybe bigger, probably like the bosses or something. Because it did seem like whenever they were seemingly fighting like other players, it did seem like they were more so geared towards just using melee. So I wonder if the combat is going to be a little more in depth, kind of like what is that game? For Honor. Which if it is, then again, they're just working wonders at this point. But that, like I said, this game really appeals to me, just the aesthetics alone. It seems like it's going to be a really fun game. I'm hoping it does really well whenever it comes out. And I imagine it's going to have the same, because it does say character progression. So I imagine it's going to have the same like aspect of Hunt, where if you lose a character, you know, that person's completely dead and you have to essentially get a whole new one. So whether I play this or not, I mean, I'm sure I'll give it a shot, or whether I stick to it or not. I mean, either way, I think it's going to be a fun game to even watch people play. Also, no release date on this, just says coming soon. It says early access. Again, a lot of these, the trailers are a little older. But it says early access 2025. That's obviously not the case because we are in December right now. So unless it comes out in early access within the next month, I doubt that that's going to happen. So we're probably looking at maybe Q1 of 2026, but no release date just yet.
Hey, listen.
So we are going to end this list, or the list for this video, with a little seemingly cozy game, which it's not really going to be cozy. That's a big spoiler. But this is Grave Seasons. Grave Seasons is a narrative farming sim with a terrifying twist. Someone in town is a supernatural serial killer. Farm, romance, and investigate your way through the unsettling town of Ashton Ridge. Now, I have dabbled in Stardew Valley, games like that. I haven't played them a lot, especially not as much as most people do. I mean, they've always been fun. Again, I'm old school gamer, so I grew up on a lot of these things, like Harvest Moon being the very first like farming sim to ever come out. Maybe there was others, but I can't think of them off the top of my head, but Harvest Moon was definitely a big one, and I put a lot of hours into Harvest Moon. But so farming sims have always been something that kind of do appeal to me. But I mean, now these day and ages, I do need that twist, and this seems to deliver. So let's get into the trailer. Beautiful pixel art. Oh shit! It doesn't just have pixel art. That dude is fucking massive. I'm really hoping they do show a lot more of the mystery of it. Oh, well, there it is. There's the dead person. Okay. Do you... Oh, damn. You get to break into things? Well, I think we found our killer. Oh, Jesus. Well, damn. Well, I mean, if that didn't appeal to you, then I don't know what will, because that is crazy. I'm really wondering if they're going to add like mini games to the investigation process of the game. Like, I really enjoy the detective games where, you know, whenever you're looking for clues and stuff, you gotta like, you know, start matching things together and stuff like that. Like, I really hope that they do put little mini games to the investigation process, because that would really make the game super fun. But that was Grave Seasons. This one, again, I'm pretty positive does not have a release date, coming soon, but it just seems like it's going to be a banger of a game. But that is going to end the list for today. And now what I am going to hopefully do within the next couple of, well, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm just completely being real. You're going to see me again very shortly in another video wearing the same exact thing, because I'm going to record the next 10 games shortly after this. But what I'm going to try to do is, as I keep doing this, I'm going to try to think and ponder of ways to try to make this better, make this more appealing, because it is very different to me being able to do this with just recording here on my own. It's kind of like going into something without really having too much of a plan, because whenever I was doing this on stream, you know, I could banter back and forth with Chad, and then we can all talk about different opinions and things that people had. And that was always so kind of nice to kind of put into the videos as well. But for the most part, I do want to make this more appealing, and I don't want to make it seem too lazy. But right now I have a lot of games that I really do want to put out there. And again, I do make these videos not even just for hoping that somebody sees them and goes, holy crap, like I didn't know this was coming out. I'm glad that you brought this to my attention. But at the same time, I also want to be able to go back to these like months down the road, maybe even years down the road, and just be like, okay, what games did I see before, and do I not remember that I did always want to visit? So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, like I said, last week I was not able to stream, or was not able to record. I should be recording possibly 3 videos this week. Whether I will release all 3, I'm not sure. I probably will, just to kind of make up for some of the stuff. But we're going to see. I'm going to at least try to release 2. I'll probably release this one to continue this series, and then probably play through a demo. But hopefully, again, as I said before, hopefully you guys enjoy, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.